Good morning and thanks for tuning in to Heartland LeatherWorks. This morning we're going to be doing a real quick video, and it's going to be on making a holster for a concealed carry holster for a SIG P365, and we just completed this holster. And I'm going to walk you through the build process, show you how we built this and why we built it, and then we're going to give you a couple of tips that I think you're going to enjoy that you're probably not going to see on any other video. So let's get to the video. Good morning, and again, thanks for tuning in to Heartland LeatherWorks. This is probably what you would consider our very first video on this channel. We've done some other leatherworking videos on our other channel, and I'm going to be converting them over. And we're making this channel strictly, it's going to be our LeatherWorks channel for our business that we have, which is Heartland LeatherWorks. So that's why we named it Heartland LeatherWorks. And let's get to the video. So real quick, what the materials we're going to be using, and I'm going to be kind of talking through this, and then I've already got the videos put together of me actually putting the product together, so I'm going to be kind of walking you through the process. But we're going to start out with the material that we use for this is going to be veg tan, and it's going to be Weaver is where we got it, and it's their Weaver Select. This is going to be a 7/8 ounce leather, which is kind of a quit, which is kind of a medium weight on as far as heavy duty as far as the thickness. If you start thinking about wallets or something, that'd be like a wallet's going to be real thin, like 2 or 3 ounce. This is not quite what you'd see on a saddle, because the saddle would be much thicker, but where we've got them sewn together, that would be something similar to what you'd see. And the reason that we use the Weaver 7/8 ounce leather is it's good quality leather, and that's really important when it comes to molding, because we want this holster to actually hold its shape. And that's one of the differences between using a good quality leather versus a lesser quality leather. I'm going to show you this as an example. This is a holster that somebody gave me after we made them one for their gun. But as you can see, this is flat when you smash it down, which tells you that the front of this and the back of this are exactly the same size. So your first tip on this, and I'm going to be showing you how we're cutting it out using the pattern, and you can actually go to Heartland LeatherWorks and download the pattern. By the time this video airs, that pattern should be on our website for this particular holster that we're showing you how to make today. So again, there'll be a link down below, you can click on that. But one of the things that, like I say, and this is kind of a pro tip that you're not going to hear a lot of other people talk about, but when you talk about the comfort of a holster, if it's going to be on your hip, and I don't know if you can actually even see my hip, I like, number one, the one thing I do like about this holster is they've actually got this to where your gun is kind of on a cant. So the whole idea of this little triangle here with your gun, if you can picture your belt being level, is this is not going to be sticking out. So if your gun was sticking straight up, a lot of times you're probably going to actually see the end of your grip, if you will, sticking out of the bottom of your shirt. People call that printing. I'm just going to call it looks goofy, but either way, this holster I do like as far as the triangle design of it. But back to the leather is very, very soft, and like I say, it's the exact same size. So what that means to you is when you put this on, put your gun in it, you can see the gun is basically right dead center where your belt loops are going to be. So the problem is when you first put this on, if it's a new gun for you or you're new to carrying a concealed weapon, you're going to put it on your hip and you're going to think, man, that don't feel bad. That's actually kind of cool because you know it's your first time to carry a gun. I've been carrying a gun for over 25 years, and I can tell you the number one problem with a holster like this is this whole area here, when you got your belt on, is now digging into your hip. So every time you're walking and taking a step or something like that, this is going to be digging into your hip, and it's actually not very comfortable at all. So what I'm going to show you is we're going to actually, and you can look at the way this holster's made, it's kind of got a natural curve to it. Part of that curve is this back piece is shorter in width than the front piece. The front piece is quite a bit longer, so when you glue them together and you've got your ends lined up, it's already in a natural curve. So number one, everybody's hip's got a little bit of curve to it. And then when you look at this, your belt's over here. When it's riding right here, it's going to be your hip and your belt. You're not getting those excessive pressure points when you're actually carrying this. Now I realize this is a much smaller gun, but the principle is exactly the same. Whether you're carrying this or a Glock 19 or a Glock 17, you're not getting that abundance of pressure, because you can look here and see the seam of this is almost all the way to the edge of this gun, both the top and the bottom, instead of being split down the middle, pulling half of the gun into your hip. So that's going to be your pro tip that I'm sharing with you that a lot of people are not ever going to mention. And to be honest with you, I don't know that a lot of people have actually carried a gun as much as others. I'm not knocking any of the big companies, but a lot of people who are actually engineering and designing guns may or may not have actually ever carried one for years on end. So another thing that I want you to take note of, if you look at this seam right here, and I'll kind of do it, I'll try to zoom in on this if I can, but this seam is actually offset just a little bit instead of straight up and down. And the reason for that is when you get ready to draw this, a lot of people will, and this is tight, my thumb's not working, so bear with me. But when you get ready to draw this, a lot of people's natural reaction is going to be to start coming forward with the gun. So what I've done is I've created a little bit of space there so that it shouldn't be hanging up on your front side as you're drawing your weapon out. Because a lot of people are going to, like I say, they're going to draw and start moving forward because that's the natural reaction as they're trying to get on target. So that's another little deal that I do. I'm not saying that there isn't others out there that are doing it, but I know for a fact that I'm doing it, and that's one of the things that we're going to teach you how to do today. So let's get to the video, or actually, let's get to the build process of it. So like I said, if you want to follow along, you can go to Heartland LeatherWorks. You can actually download the PDF, and I'll show you what I'm using. I'm actually using one of my original templates that I cut when I was making this video. So again, the process of this is actually going to be pretty easy. We're going to use the template. It's single-sided, so basically you're going to lay the template down face up on the leather to cut out your front piece. And when we get ready to do the back piece, all you're going to do is you're going to flip your template over, and then we're going to actually, you can do this one or two ways. You can go ahead and cut it down the center and make it a 1/2 inch to 1 inch shorter, or you can just slide it over so that all your lines still line up. And when I'm making this one, I actually just slide it over because I'm just using I've done this enough that I know on these thinner guns about a 1/2 inch. When you get to your thicker guns, you want to move it over about 1 inch. So that's kind of my general rule of thumb. If you're using our templates, that's how I would suggest doing it. And again, that's going to let you have that automatic curved offset when you get done with this. So the first thing, like I say, we're going to cut it out. We're going to be using a box knife. That's just one of the easy, handy tools. If your box knife blade starts getting dull, go ahead and use the strop. You can strop a box blade. A lot of people don't realize that, but it actually will help your edge maintenance on your box knife blade, and it'll last longer that way. Because all we're doing with this is we're cutting leather. We're not out using it, actually cutting boxes and stuff up. So we're going to use our leather strop, sharpen up the blade, get it nice and razor sharp, because the easier you can cut this out. This is thicker leather, you don't want to fight it, you don't want to get to a spot where you end up cutting yourself accidentally or something like that. So keep your blade sharp, it's going to reduce injuries. So the next thing that you're going to want to do after you get your leather cut out is we're going to stain it. And we always use the Fittings Pro Dye, and we're using a light brown on this leather here. That's kind of our color choice, that we kind of my go-to color. So we're going to use the Fittings light brown. We're going to stain this and the back, the front and the back of the holster. And now we're going to get ready for the glue up. So for the glue up, we're going to use the barge rubber cement. And you can do this however you want to, and it doesn't really matter. It depends on how many I'm making at a time. But like for this one, I was just making this one holster because I've got this order, I've got to get it filled. In fact, it's going to deliver tomorrow. But you can go ahead and glue it up first. And like I say, when you get ready to glue it up, we're using the barge rubber cement. So when you get ready to do that, you're going to put it on the one side. I will actually lay the gun down on the leather and draw with a pencil mark kind of an outline around where I want it, because you don't want glue in the center where you don't want that sticking together when you get ready to put your gun in there. So we're just going to kind of, if you can picture these white lines where I've sewn, we're just roughly drawing that same thing on the inside of the leather, and that's what we're going to use as a guideline to glue up the holster. So, and then I've already basically told you how to do that. We're going to draw the line around here, glue the two pieces together. Now that we've got it stained and we've got it glued, this would be a good time to go ahead and smooth up these edges with the sander. Like I say, you could use the sander. We've got a regular belt sander with 80 grit sandpaper on it, and that'll take a lot of leather off real quick, so it'll clean up all your rough edges from cutting. So when you're cutting this, don't try to be 100% precise. Get close to your line because you're going to sand it down, and that way you don't have to spend a great deal of time in there cutting and cutting and cutting, because you're still going to have to sand it, because the odds of you getting both of these pieces smashed up, lined up together, and both of them being cut a little bit crooked on both sides is not going to happen. Don't fret over it, get them close, and then we're going to clean it up with a sander when you get done gluing it. So after it's glued up, sand it down, and then we're going to get ready for wet forming. So if you'll watch right here, I'm going to be showing you a video. We're actually going to put this whole thing in the sink with running hot water, and it doesn't have to be boiling hot. In fact, it don't even have to be hot. I just use the hot water because I don't like cold water, especially this time of year. It's winter time and I don't like getting cold. So after you get it wet, you're going to push this gun in, and you can actually hear it now. This leather's dried and it's cured, but it clicks in. So hopefully you can, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it clicks into the spot. So when we're wet forming it, we're going to set it up, and you'll see I've got a couple of 1x4s that I set this on, that way we can keep our curve going. But you're gonna actually rub through the trigger area and where your ejection port is on your firearm, and rub that in. And then I also rub it in on this back side, so that way you basically got, this is holding it in, and then your trigger guard, the leather right through here, is actually going to be holding it in. And that's kind of what you're feeling when you're pushing this in. And this leather, once it's dry, it's formed and fit to this gun similar to what Kydex would. And we actually do Kydex on the side as well, but I prefer the leather. The leather, I like the looks of it, I like the feel of it, but it's similar to how a Kydex holster will kind of hold your gun in. And you will notice that I don't generally, unless the customer asks, I don't put a strap on here with a snap. And there's two reasons for that. Number one, like I said, I've carried a concealed gun for over 25 years, or let's just say 25 plus years. I've never had a gun fall out. Now I will say this, I don't do cartwheels, and I don't stand on my hands, and I don't do backflips. But I've never ever had a gun fall out of my holster. Now you can also feel how tight this is, or you can see how tight this is. When it's actually on your belt and pulling, it's going to be a little bit tighter than what it is right now, because right now it's loose, there's not as much friction on it. But once you get your belt, you can actually hear that leather torquing down on that. So it's even tighter once it's in there. So if you have a good quality leather that's holster that's actually molded and fit for the gun, it's going to hang in there much tighter than you would think it would. Even this, what I would call cheap leather that won't truly mold, is still holding this gun pretty dang good. You're going to have to really be doing something silly for this to fall out. And again, that's just me, but the one thing I know that I've never had a problem with, when you don't have a snap on your holster, you don't have to worry about that snap kind of welding itself shut because you haven't been taking it in and out of its holster daily. It's got salt from McDonald's French fries where it's kind of welded itself shut or any of those problems. The day you need your gun, you want it to come out. And I don't want there to be a mechanical failure, if you will, on a snap that's really not doing anything anyways. Because if you're handling your gun safely and you're carrying it safely, my 2 cents are, of course I don't agree with seatbelts either, but when you need your gun, I want it to come out. I don't want it to be stuck in the holster. So to me, weapon retention is a training issue, it's not a snap issue. So if you're worried about weapon retention, get some more training. Training is priceless, so that's my 2 cents. Somebody's trying to take your gun, again, weapon retention training is still going to be better than a snap that may fail on you. That's just my 2 cents. And again, guys, I'm not trying to create an argument here, I'm just trying to create a point. Everybody has their own opinions, and I think that's wonderful. And I would actually love to hear you guys, if you will, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on it. But to me, weapon retention is a training issue, and it's something that you need to be trained on. So again, that's my 2 cents. I'd love to hear your thoughts on pros and cons on the snaps, but I'm just telling you, for me, most of my holsters don't have them. If a customer requests them, we will put them on, but I would rather err on the side of a snap not working when I need it to. So anyhow, guys, after you've gotten your leather prepped, generally drying time, that's one thing that we didn't cover. When you put the glue on, I give it about 15 or 20 minutes on the rubber cement before I put the pieces together, and then you'll see me with a hammer, I beat it together so that it's a solid, you can't hardly rip it apart. Stain. After I stain it, I just let it dry for a full day. After I wet form it, I let it dry for a full day. I'll leave this blue gun, if you will. This one's actually yellow, but years ago they were all called blue guns. I'll leave this mold in this holster for a full day, and I put it in a room with a heater and a fan so that it's blown on and it'll dry it. I know that they sell the little ovens, and we've got a little oven that we use for the Kydex. I've always been afraid that was too much heat too quickly. So I just put it in a room with a heater. I raise the temperature up in the bathroom around 90 degrees, and that's kind of our drying room. We have a small guest bathroom, and that's just our drying room. So again, we'll let the stain dry for a full day, and then the wet mold, I'll let it dry for a full day. And then the final thing that we do after we've sewn it is we will put the finish on it. And it doesn't matter, I generally will sew it before I wet mold, but that, again, the stain's dry for a full day, sew it up, do the wet mold, and I'm going to be showing you guys this while we're talking through the video. And then after that, the last thing I do is I'll go through and I'll buff the edges with basically just wax. After you burnish your edges, you can go in there and put a wax on it, and it makes it nice and smooth. I will generally go in and go ahead and do this outer edge one more time with the brown stain right before I burnish it. That just makes it a little bit darker than what it would be if you didn't do that. And then, like I say, I'll put a wax on it, because when you're burnishing it, it's going to darken up, and that almost looks black right now, but that's just using the brown stain that we've been using. So again, guys, that's how to make your own concealed carry holster, and this is going to be what I call the subcompact or small holster. And if you guys are interested, again, like I said, the PDF is down below. You can follow along, you can rewatch this video, but you can follow along and make one yourself. And let's see here, the stuff that we put on the conditioner is made by Fibbings. The stain is made by Fibbings. Those links are down below. They're also Amazon affiliate links, so if you guys buy from us and using the link down below, we get a couple of cents or some nonsense. They actually used to we get a couple of cents, so you need to know up front that the links down below are affiliate links, and then, like I said, the link to the PDF is on our website, and it's obviously us, so I don't know if you'd call that an affiliate link or not, but that's our link. So again, guys, if you like our video, give us a big thumbs up. We appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you haven't subscribed already, I'd love to talk you into subscribing. We're going to be bringing you a lot more leather videos and how to. We're going to be trying to bring you some other tips and techniques that maybe some of the other crafters aren't doing or aren't sharing, or this is just the way we do it and our take on it. So some of this stuff we're going to be learning together. Some of this stuff I've been making leather products for over 20, about the same as I've been carrying a gun. So 25 years plus, if you will. So again, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. May you have a blessed week. And thanks again for tuning in to Heartland LeatherWorks. Bye-bye.